So I will be start by reading various suttas on working with the hindrances, which is part of the Satipatthana Sutta. And all translations are by Ajahn Jeff, and I will omit some of the repetitions of the suttas, and I will include some comments by Ajahn Jeff from his book, his compilation, Right Mindfulness. So I'll be starting on page 179. The 5 hindrances are obstacles to concentration. They are sensual desire, ill will, sloth and drowsiness, restlessness and anxiety, and uncertainty. The discussion of these hindrances under this 4th frame of reference lists 5 things to notice with regard to each hindrance: when it is present, when it is absent, how it arises, how once arisen it is abandoned, and how there will be no future arising of it once it has been abandoned. This last point refers to the stage of practice when that particular hindrance is gone for good. If we identify the hindrances simply as hindrances to concentration, this stage would be stream entry in the case of uncertainty and non-return in every other case, where non-return is the level of awakening where concentration is fully mastered. If we identify the hindrances with the deeper and subtler fetters that share their names, then uncertainty would be overcome with stream entry, sensuality and ill will with non-return, and restlessness with arahantship. In either interpretation, this framework can be used all the way from the beginning stages of concentration practice to the transcendent attainments. The formula for each hindrance follows a standard pattern. Here is the formula for sensual desire. There is the case where, there being sensual desire present within, a monk discerns, there is sensual desire present within me. Or there being no sensual desire present within, he discerns, there is no sensual desire present within me. He discerns how there is the arising of unarisen sensual desire, and he discerns how there is the abandoning of sensual desire once it has arisen, and he discerns how there is no further appearance in the future of sensual desire that has been abandoned. Samyutta Nikaya 4651 gives an overall account of how to use appropriate attention to starve the hindrances. Now, what is lack of food for the arising of unarisen sensual desire, or for the growth and increase of sensual desire once it has arisen? There is the theme of unattractiveness, to foster appropriate attention to it. This is the lack of food for the arising of unarisen sensual desire, or for the growth and increase of sensual desire once it has arisen. And what is the lack of food for the arising of unarisen ill will, or for the growth and increase of ill will once it has arisen? There is the release of the mind, which means through goodwill, compassion, empathetic joy, or equanimity, to foster appropriate attention to that. And what is lack of food for the arising of unarisen sloth and drowsiness, or for the growth and increase of sloth and drowsiness once it has arisen? There is the potential for effort, the potential for exertion, the potential for striving, to foster appropriate attention to them. And what is the lack of food for the arising of unarisen restlessness and anxiety, or for the growth and increase of restlessness and anxiety once it has arisen? There is stillness of awareness, to foster appropriate attention to that. And what is lack of food for the arising of unarisen uncertainty, or for the growth and increase of uncertainty once it has arisen? There are mental qualities that are skillful and unskillful, blameworthy and blameless, gross and refined, siding with darkness and with light, to foster appropriate attention to them. This is lack of food for the arising of unarisen uncertainty, or for the growth and increase of uncertainty once it has arisen. Many discourses give further instructions for bringing appropriate attention to the potentials that starve specific hindrances. Here are some instructions for dealing with drowsiness. So this is Anguttara Nikaya 758, nodding. Once the Blessed One was living among the Bhagas in the deer park at Besakala Forest near Crocodile Haunt. At that time, Venerable Mahamoggallana, prior to his awakening, sat nodding near the village of Kalawalamutta in Magadha. The Blessed One, with his purified divine eye, surpassing the human, saw Venerable Mahamoggallana as he sat nodding near the village of Kalawalamutta in Magadha. As soon as he saw this, just as a strong man might extend his flexed arm or flex his extended arm, he disappeared from among the Bhagas in the deer park at Besakala Forest near Crocodile Haunt, and reappeared near the village of Kalawalamutta in Magadha, right in front of Venerable Mahamoggallana. There he sat down on a seat laid out. Seated, the Blessed One said to Venerable Mahamoggallana, "Are you nodding, Moggallana? Are you nodding?" "Yes, Lord." "Well then, Moggallana, whatever perception you have in mind when drowsiness descends on you, don't attend to that perception, don't pursue it. It's possible that by doing this you will shake off your drowsiness. But if by doing this you don't shake off your drowsiness, then recall to your awareness the Dhamma as you've heard and memorized it, re-examine it, and ponder it over in your mind. It's possible that by doing this you will shake off your drowsiness. But if by doing this you don't shake off your drowsiness, then repeat aloud in detail the Dhamma as you have heard and memorized it. It's possible that by doing this you will shake off your drowsiness. But if by doing this you don't shake off your drowsiness, then pull both your earlobes and rub your limbs with your hands. It's possible that by doing this you will shake off your drowsiness. But if by doing this you don't shake off your drowsiness, then get up from your seat and after washing your eyes out with water, look around in all directions and upward to the major stars and constellations. It's possible that by doing this you will shake off your drowsiness. But if by doing this you don't shake off your drowsiness, then attend to the perception of light, resolve on the perception of daytime, drilling by night as by day and by day as by night. By means of an awareness thus open and unhampered, develop a brightened mind. It's possible that by doing this you will shake off your drowsiness. But if by doing this you don't shake off your drowsiness, then percipient of what lies in front and behind, set a distance to meditate, walking back and forth, your senses inwardly immersed, your mind not straying outwards. It's possible that by doing this you will shake off your drowsiness. But if by doing this you don't shake off your drowsiness, then reclining on your right side, take up the lion's posture, one foot placed on top of the other, mindful, alert, with your mind set on getting up. As soon as you wake up, get up quickly with the thought, I won't stay indulging in the pleasure of lying down, the pleasure of reclining, the pleasure of drowsiness. That is how you should train yourself. And further, Moggallana, should you train yourself. I will not visit families with my trunk lifted high. Trunk is as an elephant trunk, as in pride. That is how you should train yourself. Among families, there are many jobs that have to be done so that people don't pay attention to a visiting monk. If a monk visits them with his trunk lifted high, the thought will occur to him, now who, I wonder, has caused a split between me and this family? The people seem to have no liking for me. Getting nothing, he becomes abashed. Abashed, he becomes restless. Restless, he becomes unrestrained. Unrestrained, his mind is far from concentration. And further, Moggallana, should you train yourself, I will speak no confrontational speech. That is how you should train yourself. When there is confrontational speech, a lot of discussion can be expected. When there is a lot of discussion, there is restlessness. One who is restless becomes unrestrained. Unrestrained, his mind is far from concentration. It's not the case, Moggallana, that I praise association of every sort. But it's not the case that I dispraise association of every sort. I don't appraise association with householders and renunciates. But as for dwelling places that are free from noise, free from sound, their atmosphere devoid of people, appropriately secluded for resting undisturbed by human beings, I praise association with dwelling places of this sort. When this was said, Venerable Moggallana said to the Blessed One, briefly, Lord, in what respect is a monk released through the ending of craving, utterly complete, utterly free from bonds, a follower of the utterly holy life, utterly consummate, foremost among devas and human beings? There is the case, Moggallana, where a monk has heard, all dhammas are unworthy of attachment. Having heard that all dhammas are unworthy of attachment, he directly knows every dhamma. Directly knowing every dhamma, he comprehends every dhamma. Comprehending every dhamma, then whatever feeling he experiences, pleasure, pain, neither pleasure nor pain, he remains focused on inconstancy, focused on dispassion, focused on cessation, focused on relinquishing with regard to that feeling. As he remains focused on inconstancy, focused on dispassion, focused on cessation, focused on relinquishing with regard to that feeling, he is unsustained by anything in the world. Unsustained, he isn't agitated. Unagitated, he is unbound right within. He discerns. Birth is ended, the holy life fulfilled, the task done. There is nothing further for this world. It's in this respect, Moggallana, that a monk, in brief, is released through the ending of craving, utterly complete, utterly free from bonds, a follower of the utterly holy life, utterly consummate, foremost among devas and human beings. Now I'll be reading another excerpt about the 6 recollections, which are recollection of Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, virtue, generosity, and the devas. And Ajahn Jeff notes these recollections serve primarily to gladden the mind, although the first 3 can also release the mind from fear. And this is Anguttara Nikaya 11:12, discourse given to layman Mahanama. There is the case where you recollect the Tathagata. Indeed, the Blessed One is pure and rightly self-awakened, consummate in knowledge and conduct, well gone and expert with regard to the world, unexcelled as a trainer for those people fit to be tamed, the teacher of divine and human beings, awake and blessed. And further, there is the case where you recollect the Dhamma. The Dhamma is well expounded by the Blessed One, to be seen here and now, timeless, inviting verification, pertinent, to be realized by the observant for themselves. And further, there is the case where you recollect the Sangha of the Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well, who have practiced straightforwardly, who have practiced methodically, who have practiced masterfully. In other words, the 4 types of noble disciples. When taken as pairs, the 8 when taken as individual types. They are the Sangha of the Blessed One's disciples, worthy of gifts, worthy of hospitality, worthy of offerings, worthy of respect, the incomparable field of merit for the world. And further, there is the case where you recollect your own virtues. They are untorn, unbroken, unspotted, unsplattered, liberating, praised by the wise, untarnished, conducive to concentration. And further, there is the case where you recollect your own generosity. It is a great gain for me that among people overcome with the stain of possessiveness, I live at home, my awareness cleansed of the stain of possessiveness, freely generous, open-handed, delighting in being magnanimous, responsive to requests, delighting in the distribution of alms. And further, you should recollect the Devas. There are the Devas of the 4 great kings, the Devas of the 33, the Devas of the hours, the contented Devas, the Devas who delight in creation, the Devas who rule over the creations of others, the Devas of Brahma's retinue, the Devas beyond them. Whatever conviction they were endowed with, that when falling away from this life they re-arose there, the same sort of conviction is present in me as well. Whatever virtue, whatever learning, whatever generosity, whatever discernment they were endowed with, that when falling away from this life they re-arose there, the same sort of discernment is present in me as well. As the Buddha notes with regard to anyone who recollects any of these themes, one's mind is not overcome with passion, not overcome with aversion, not overcome with delusion. One's mind heads straight based on that theme. And when the mind is head straight, the disciple of the Noble One gains a sense of the goal, gains a sense of the Dhamma, gains gladness connected with the Dhamma. In one who is glad, rapture arises. In one whose mind is enraptured, the body grows calm. One whose body is calm senses pleasure. In one sensing pleasure, the mind becomes concentrated. Mahanama, you should develop this recollection of the Devas while you are walking, while you are standing, while you are sitting, while you're lying down, while you are busy at work, while you're resting in your home crowded with children. The 4th group of subsidiary themes that will help with training in the 3rd tetrad consist of the various exercises surrounding mindfulness of death. These are obviously aimed at steadying the mind by chastening it and at releasing it from laziness and heedlessness, from attachment to the body, and from the petty concerns of daily life. However, they can also be used to gladden the mind by inspiring a sense of appreciation for every opportunity to practice, and for whatever practice you have already made. Anguttara 6:19. Then another monk addressed the Blessed One. I too develop mindfulness of death. I think, that I might live for the interval that it takes to breathe out after breathing in, or to breathe in after breathing out, that I might attend to the Blessed One's instruction. I would have accomplished a great deal. And then this is Anguttara 6:20. There is the case where a monk, as day departs and night returns, reflects, many are the possible causes of my death. A snake might bite me, a scorpion might sting me, a centipede might bite me. That would be how my death would come about. That would be an obstruction for me. Stumbling, I might fall. My food digested might trouble me. My bile might be provoked. My phlegm might be provoked. Piercing wind forces in the body might be provoked. That would be how my death would come about. That would be an obstruction for me. Then the monk should investigate, are there any evil, unskillful mental qualities unabandoned by me that would be an obstruction for me were I to die in the night? If on reflecting he realizes that there are evil, unskillful mental qualities unabandoned by him that would be an obstruction for him were he to die in the night, then he should put forth intense desire, effort, diligence, endeavor, relentlessness, mindfulness, and alertness for the abandoning of those very same evil, unskillful qualities. Just as when a person whose turban or head was on fire would put forth intense desire, effort, diligence, endeavor, relentlessness, mindfulness, and alertness to put out the fire on his turban or head, in the same way the monk should put forth intense desire, effort, diligence, endeavor, relentlessness, mindfulness, and alertness for the abandoning of those very same evil, unskillful qualities. But if on reflecting he realizes that there are no evil, unskillful mental qualities abandoned by him that would be an obstruction for him were he to die in the night, then for that very reason he should dwell in rapture and gladness, training himself day and night in skillful qualities. By way of encouragement, the Buddha notes that when mindfulness of death is developed in this way, it gains a footing in the deathless, has the deathless as its final end. This thought, too, gladdens the mind. Last sutta reading will be Antidote for Ill Will, which is Goodwill. Brief Sutta, Anguttara Nikaya 11:16. Monks, for one whose awareness released through goodwill is cultivated, developed, pursued, given a means of transport, given a grounding, steady, consolidated, and well undertaken, 11 benefits can be expected. Which 11? One sleeps easily, wakes easily, dreams no evil dreams. One is dear to human beings, dear to non-human beings. The devas protect one. Neither fire nor poison nor weapons can touch one. One's mind gains concentration quickly. One's complexion is bright. One dies unconfused. And if penetrating no higher, is headed for a Brahma world. These are the 11 benefits that can be expected for one whose awareness released through goodwill is cultivated, developed, pursued, handed the reins, taken as a basis, stayed, consolidated, and well undertaken. And now I'll be reading a part of a Dhamma talk offered by Ajahn Sucitto here in May 2007. And a little bit of that talk is in Beginning Our Day, volume. And he talks about various themes, including working with anxiety and worry and mindfulness. The mind and the body correlate at the level of feeling. What you feel in your mind, you feel in your body. When you feel fear in your mind, you feel it in your body. When you feel joy in your mind, you feel it in your body. When you feel love in your mind, you feel it in your body. When you feel hate in your mind, you feel it in your body. And because of that correlation around the experience of feeling, which the mind and body share, it is possible you get some leverage on this very powerful experience we have of feeling, which stirs up our emotions, which galvanizes our attention, which thrusts us into action. In the body, you've got a place where you can just say, wait a minute. And through the meditation, you begin to sense how this kind of capturing a mental feeling can be released into the body. And when I say the body, I don't mean into your fingers or your nose, but into the feeling, the felt sense of the body as we sit here, that sense of being embodied, that sense of having a kind of simple location of groundedness. So fundamentally, breathing in and out brings you into the energy system of the body, the feeling of system of the body, the nervous system of the body. This is so you get a direct correlation between mental feeling and perception and physical or bodily. And the body can govern the mind. The body can give the mind some feedback. The body can say to the mind, hey, you're making me feel really tense. You're making me feel really unpleasant. Drop that, will you? And there's a place you can drop it. You can actually drop it. Return to the breathing. Return into your body. Drop it, relax it. Just let your attention widen. So very often the mental feeling as it moves into action means you come into something very sharp, kind of pointed. The mind can pinpoint down to one point on a particular thought or impression. It's kind of running away with that. You just stop and widen your attention, because that is the gesture of relaxation. And what does it take to widen your attention? First of all, the acknowledgement of, this is unpleasant, this is stressful, I don't trust this. And so the widening of attention implies no value judgment, no analysis. It's just saying, stay with that, but just get wider, feel what it feels like. So you've got some way of sensing your specific thought or attitude or idea in a much more balanced way. Balance needs width. You look at a tightrope walker and they always have a kind of pole they carry, don't they? The wider your span, the more balanced you are. And it's just kind of coming back to that as a reference point, to live with balanced mind, balanced attention. You learn a lot. As you learn the unskillful and the skillful intentions, you see that every intention, every kind of imperative, every impulse, every inclination of the mind has a localizing effect. You are somewhere, you're doing something, you're interested in that particular thought, you're interested in that particular sensation. You want to go to that place. You become quite localized. Suddenly, you want to fly to Rome. You've got your ticket. I want to go there. I want to be there. I don't want to be here. I want to be there. You become very localized. It's got that kind of quality. That's what intention does. Impulse, inclination, it makes something quite specific. And first, you have to be very clear about which plane you want to get on. Where do you want to go? And then eventually, why do you want to go? Where are you going to? Where's your attention going to? Why do you want to go somewhere? What's the movement? What's the restlessness? What's the push? Could we get more comfortable where we are? So you start to contemplate the experience of that directive mind and what a reflex that is. There are fundamental things I'm sure we're all biologically geared to. One is I want to be safe. I want to be somewhere where I'm not going to be shot to pieces. I want to be somewhere safe. And I'd like to be somewhere where I can get some feel-good happening, where I get my supplies in, my stash, my warmth, my enjoyment, that experience going. I want to be somewhere where that's happening. Freedom from fear, freedom from loss. And it seems to me that's the bottom line of all our movements. And the movement is so strong, so biologically ingrained. I mean, even slugs want that, I'm sure. You can't really cut it out, but it's more of saying, just check in with this. Is this going there? Does this plane go there? Does this impulse go there? How long for? How long's the ride on an ice cream? How secure is our place of security? You can see this kind of paradigm being played out in the world. Every country's got its Ministry of Defense. There's not a single country that's dedicated to aggression. Oh, what a wonderful, peaceful world we live in. All these states and nations just set up to make us feel really comfortable and secure. It should be really peaceful, shouldn't it? There's not a single ministry of war in the world. So how come? How come the more defense we get, the more defense we have, the more row we get, the more frightened we get, the more fear there is? How come? Because as soon as you start looking at things in that light of what could happen, the terrors that might happen if we're not careful, then the whole thing starts to escalate, doesn't it? You get the defense, because it might go wrong, we better blast them first before they get in. And so it goes on that reflex. You get situations where the whole thing spins out of control. What about the daring of if I just kind of trusted? What if I practiced loving kindness and generosity instead? What about if I accepted the fact that I'm going to die and said, okay, I can't do much about that. Every time I get in a car, I definitely think to myself, well, I could end up smashed under a truck, and there's nothing I can do about it, or really, or well, limited. Some virus might have its little beady eye on me at this very moment, get into my central nervous system and totally and passively cause me all kinds of extreme degrading pain and death. What can you do? How much can you do? You say, I can't do all that much about that. What I can do something about is fear. Yeah, I can do something about that. The rest of it, I just have to take my chance. Because that's it, isn't it? How long does one want to live running scared? So we can work with that very welling up of anxiety, from the minor social anxieties, the anxieties about, what if I get it wrong? What if it doesn't work? What if I'm left here alone? Okay, just look over the edge of that. Look over the edge of what if, and wait. Let your mind open up and realize that we've been running away from phantoms. Examine the attitudes we have like, what if I get it wrong? You've been getting it wrong all your life. It's no big deal. Everybody's getting it wrong. Everybody's making mistakes. Everybody's kind of falling, losing it, blundering, not noticing, not being as respectful, polite, kind, not really telling the really accurate, spot-on thing, going on too long, babbling on too long, not saying enough, not coming up with the right emotional gesture at the right time. Everybody's getting it wrong. You forgive me and I'll forgive you, okay? Deal. And what if it doesn't work? But it never did work, did it? You show me a gadget that works. They all say they'll work. I always have this running battle with computers. Everything is breaking down, and we can get through that. We can be bigger than that. We can be bigger than getting it right and getting it wrong. We can be bigger than success and failure. We can be bigger than praise and blame. We can be bigger than gaining and losing. What a relief to get out of the game. Well, I accept that there's going to be some pain, and I might even cause pain, but I really don't want to do that. And maybe the way out is just by being a bit more relaxed, a bit more at ease, a bit more broad-minded, a bit more or less concerned about being absolutely perfect and right, on time and prepared and strategized and defended, socially proved, and so forth. Just go down in your belly, relax, breathe out, open up, and trust that as a human being, you've got what it takes to be a human being. And you can learn from that. And you can learn not to make a big deal out of it. And you can learn not to get confused by it. You learn not to expect miracles out of it. And then you can learn to let go of it, come out of it, come out of the agitation and the self-consciousness that arises up in these self-forms. This is really important to learn, isn't it? This is nothing that's so esoteric, nothing so even high-minded. It's just basic sanity. But the wonderful thing is, this is also very ordinary. It's also extremely profound, because it actually starts to dismantle all of those reflexes that seem so ingrained and so out of control. They grip me, they push me around, they make me flustered, they make me say things I wish I hadn't said, and they make me snappy and they make me sad. We simply start to dismantle all that stuff, dismantle our hold on all that need, the need to be something, prove something, get somewhere, until we can be miraculously right here in a place that doesn't have a location. Because it doesn't have a location, we never leave it. Because we never leave it, we can't leave it. So there isn't any kind of grief or sadness, up or down, holding on or worrying. In the ongoing truthfulness of our practice, it's important to sift through all the static and white noise that the emotions in the mind's program set up. It's important to see and get a handle on what intention feels like in our nervous system. And the same with the quality of attention, to see how big, narrow, tight, or bound we feel when we're occupied with a series of thoughts. How our attention bunches up with that sort of proliferation. We start to get a real sense of how this feels in the body. Then we start to get a sense of what it's like to release it all. This is what we practice. This is the dissolving. Dissolving involves letting go of control, self-image and self-territories. For that to happen, it has to be a comfortable ride. We can feel that comfort in the breathing in and the breathing out, in good friendship and in moral living. We get the sense that it's okay. It's okay to be here. That gives us the ability to trust the process and to trust the practice. Questions for Lungpo Ajahn Kurunamo or any comments?
Thank you for the readings. Thank you very much. I feel like I don't understand, like the first reading that you did when it was talking about doubt and that hindrance and like what the, like starving that hindrance. I didn't understand that part, and maybe it would be helpful to explain it more.
Okay, so the first part is there are mental qualities that are skillful and unskillful, blameworthy and blameless, gross and refined, sign with darkness and with light, to foster appropriate attention to them. So that was what you had a question about? Okay, I would guess that it's a matter of where we direct our attention, because if we direct our attention in the wrong place, then like there are plenty of things we can doubt and have doubt about. So if we direct our intentions in the wrong place, then that's just going to cause more and more doubt. But if we're directing our attention in the right place, like, oh, what's skillful, what's unskillful, that's my thoughts anyway.
Yes, but I'm not like totally convinced.
You mean you have doubt about it?
Sorry, that was really loud.
You walked into that.
Open the door incredibly wide for me.
I tend to do that with many people.
No, I think one of the things is the rather than our particularly personal feelings of uncertainty or worry or concern about something, we start to pay more attention to the quality of the mind, in whatever the case. So that sense of really attending to, is this wholesome, unwholesome, skillful, unskillful, beneficial, not beneficial, as opposed to, do I understand it? There's something more to understand, because there is no sort of end to that, and so then we because there is no end, then we keep feeding it. And so that the attending to, this is wholesome. This feels good. This is not very skillful. This doesn't feel very good. Oh God, how do I release that? So it's like coming to the actual quality of how it's the felt sense of the mental states.
Like it the way that I'm understanding what you both are saying is like being able to even see the distinctions between unwholesome versus wholesome, and seeing that is something that you can identify as something.
Yes, and particularly the wholesome and unwholesome are not an intellectual concept. They're an experiential feeling, and so that tuning into how it's felt.
And so I found it interesting because it says that specifically that hindrance is what is released forever when stream entry happens. And so like, I guess like how, there was a question, but
no, I mean that's it's just it's by sort of looking at it, you realize that because the essence of the first of the first impediment to that is relinquished on stream entry. Is the, I mean, one, it is doubt, but it's also peeling back is the kind of the infatuation or the assumption of identity. This is me. This is who I am. This body, mind, emotion, these are really solid. This is who I really am. And when you can start to step back from that, then a lot of or to question it and see through it, then the foundation for doubt and uncertainty is undermined.
And like being able to see through that is also connected to being able to correctly discern this feels unwholesome or this feels wholesome. Yeah,
again, that's because then you can start to pay attention to the quality rather than to the personal story.
Mm-hmm. And because like those things are changing.
And that personal identification. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Add a quick comment to that, the referring to kind of dropping the story and going back to the experience. The Ajahn Sumedho often talks about the first three fetters, skeptical doubt being one of them, and it refers to Ajahn Chah as saying that basically people who doubt a lot, or basically it's because they think too much. So it's like just dropping that whole rational thinking, trying to figure it out, processing, going back, as Lung Paul was saying, going back to the experience, the feeling tone, and just not getting so wrapped up in thinking.
There was a section on loving kindness in there, and there was 11 benefits. They seem pretty straightforward, but there was a phrase in there, awareness release through goodwill. And I'm assuming that awareness release is not a stage of enlightenment. I was wondering what the awareness release through loving kindness, what the awareness release is referring to, if that's just a basis of concentration or...
The Pali for that would be Jeta Vimutti. It's a clunky translation. Not quite sure how Bhikkhu Bodhi translates.
Mind.
Yeah, release of the mind, liberation of the mind, liberation by the mind. So that awareness release is very, very literal and, well, maybe a certain poetic, but it's clunky. But yeah, the Pali is Jeta Vimutti, which is a fairly ordinary term. And it's usually what it's referring to is the release of the mind through stability of the mind, through a release, relinquishing through more the power of samadhi, as opposed to pañña vimutti, which is liberation through wisdom or liberation through insight. And so these are two sort of paths of freedom of mind, freedom of heart.
So that's referring to kind of two different ways to basically like awakening, or to stream entry, or to levels of enlightenment?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, okay. Cool. Thank you.
They're sort of broad brush paths.
So we're moving towards the final liberation based on